was handed over a number of main delays, VV Enterprises, on the 5th day of August 2020. And with the construction commencing, we also then on August 12th had to face the however, the implementation of the project which had a number of delays due to weather, on the speed, persistent rainfall, or expedition of delivering such projects. We also then factors notwithstanding had to pleased to inform the House that the stadium has been fully completed, which had according to the scope of works that had been indicated or expedition of delivering that project. But those factors has been put to use. I'm pleased to inform the House that the stadium has to ensure effective management and utilization according to the scope of work. The ministry is in the process of finalizing a joint management and maintenance. The stadium has been put to use once in a while, and to ensure effective management and utilization of this facility, the ministry is in the process of finalizing a joint management and maintenance framework with the county government of Kirinyaga. We believe that in the next couple of weeks, this framework should be ready for execution between our Sports Kenya agency that manages the facilities. Now, on this segment B of the question on the budget, this project at the time of its commencement was budgeted at 696 million Kenya shillings, 473,751 cents. Additionally, the Ministry of Interior, in coordination of national government, contracted another contractor called Jimro Enterprises at the cost of 176,412,767.50 cents to undertake construction of additional 10 steel stands and electrical installation. The contractor was also required to install a generator at the county commissioner's residence to facilitate the hosting of a garden party during the Mashujaa Day celebrations, which were hosted at this particular stadium in 2021. The decision to contract Jimro Enterprises was occasioned by a presidential directive that year to host Mashujaa Day celebrations at this Wanguru Stadium, noting that the construction works by VV Enterprises Limited had faced delays during to what we have indicated as the weather conditions and the impact of COVID. So far, the records indicate that Jimro Enterprises Limited has received payments totaling 170,957,650.80 cents from the Ministry of Interior, because that was contracted directly from by the Ministry of Interior, with an outstanding bill of 5,455,117.50 cents. As for VV Enterprises, they have already been paid 679,535,567.23 cents, with an outstanding payment of 16,938,194.15 cents from the State Department of Sports. The records do indicate, Honorable Speaker, Honorable House, that as per the scope of work, this project is concluded, and in fact, in our list of facilities, Wanguru Stadium is available for public use. I submit, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Cabinet Secretary. Senator, you have a supplementary question? Go ahead.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker and Honorable CS, for that comprehensive answer. My question is, there are several stadiums that have been commissioned by the previous regime, and they lacked a uniform design. One of them is Wanguru, there's one in Embu, there's one in Lorengo, which have all since stalled at different development stage. What is the ministry doing to ensure that moving forward, we have a uniform design that would be easy to oversight, that would be easy to follow up, and most importantly, to control the cost factor, which has been escalating, as it has been the case in Oreguruni? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Cabinet Secretary, and please, Cabinet Secretary, if you could be brief on the supplementary answers so that we can move faster.
Very, very quickly, just to inform the Honourable Senator that indeed there are a number of stadia that commenced under the previous administration We have done a quick assessment of those stadia. We have gone further also to subject these projects to a forensic audit just to determine the value for money that was put into these projects. That forensic audit is at a tail end. As soon as that process is concluded, we have every intention to complete every project that has already expended public resources. We don't intend to let any of these projects go to waste. And as far as for standards, I'm pleased to inform this House that the ministry has now developed a sports and creatives infrastructure master plan. We now have a master plan that is very clear on what kind of facility to do at the international level, at a regional level, and at a community level. That master plan will guide all future sports facilities in the country. I submit.
Thank you, Cabinet Secretary. We'll move on to the question number 72 and 73, which is by the Senator for Kisii County, Senator Richard Wanyonka. Senator Mbugua, on his behalf, you can ask the question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to ask question number 72 on behalf of the distinguished Senator for Kisii, the Honorable Senator Richard Wanyonka. A, what was the total amount of money utilized by the government in organizing and hosting the 2023 World Rally Championship Safari Rally event? And could the Cabinet Secretary provide a breakdown of the expenditure and disclose any funding received from WRC International? And B, could the Cabinet Secretary provide details of the audit findings of the Office of the Auditor General on the utilization of public funds in organizing and hosting the WRC Safari Rally? And C, are there any outstanding bills related to the WRC Safari Rally? And if so, could the Cabinet Secretary provide information of the nature of the bills and the projected timelines for their settlement? Thank you, Speaker.
Senator Mbugua, proceed with the next question as well so that the CS can tackle both.
A, could the Cabinet Secretary disclose the total funds received by the Sports, Arts and Social Development Fund since July 2022 and indicate how the funds have been expended during the same period? And B, could the Cabinet Secretary provide a list of all the stakeholders, organizations and individuals that have benefited from the grants from the fund, stating the specific purposes for which these funds were allocated to each recipient? Thank you.
Cabinet Secretary, please proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Straight away to question 772. The WRC Safari Rally is a special project established by Gazette Notice. The 2023 budget for the WRC Safari Rally was Kenya shillings 1,486,369,782, broken down as follows. The Sports, Arts and Social Development Fund was to provide 1,341,369,782, sponsorship from the Kenya Commercial Bank of 100 million, and TV licenses amounting to 45 million. It's important for this Honorable House to note that the 2022 budget, the previous year, for this event was 2.5 billion. And we made effort right from the outset when we took office to cut this budget significantly, and we reduced this budget by close to 1.1 billion shillings, from 2.5 billion to 1.486 billion. The preliminary report from the WRC Safari Rally Project Secretariat indicates that the 2023 budget of 1.48 billion was utilized as follows. And I have provided a summary, Honorable Speaker. I have provided a table where we spent 487,200,000 to the WRC promoter. Normally you pay a subscription fee to the promoter. And so from that budget, 487,200,000 was wired direct to the promoter. The steering and local organizing committee and the secretariat utilized 228 810,692. The event hosting, the actual budget for the event was 770,359.90 shillings. Honorable Speaker, the same preliminary report, I'm calling it a preliminary report because it's under review by the ministry, from the WRC Safari Rally Project Secretariat indicates that there was an over-expenditure of 272,288,582. The ministry has received this preliminary report and is subjecting it to verification for further action. The same preliminary report from the project secretariat indicates that there are pending bills totaling to 38,762,13 shillings. And we have provided details of those pending bills that is annexed to my submission as Annex C. The ministry is subjecting this report to verification for further necessary action. All returns from the WRC Safari Rally project will be subjected to audit and the reports made public. And that will be done soon as the ministry concludes the verification exercise that is currently ongoing. Honorable Speaker, I submit.
Cabinet Secretary, there was question number 73 as well.
Straight on to question number 73, Honorable Speaker. We have provided a table, we have tabulated the funds that have flown into the Sports, Arts and Social Development Fund from July 2022. And Honorable Speaker, the tabulation runs from July 2022 to June 2023. And that whole figure in that table with full details provided totals up to 10,427,518,883. The board that manages this fund has approved funding as detailed in Annexure D, but just as a breakdown, 4.7 billion has been disbursed for the promotion and development of sports. 885 million has been disbursed for social development, including the promotion of universal health care. 886 million has been disbursed for the promotion of the arts. The following question is providing a list of organizations and individuals that have benefited from grants. And Honorable Speaker, we have supplied Annexure D, the annex marked as Annexure D, which provides details of all recipients of funding or support from the fund, including federations and public institutions. That is duly provided, Honorable Speaker. I thank you.
Thank you, Cabinet Secretary. Senator Mbugo, do you have a supplementary question?
Yes, Mr. Speaker. On question number 73, on the sports, arts, and social development, Mr. Cabinet Secretary, I've gone through the recipients, and it seems that your ministry has prioritized sports and somehow ignored arts and social development, where persons with disabilities would benefit. I would want you to address that on that, as well as comment on the mistreatment of the Special Olympic teams when they went to represent Kenya and they were suffering because they didn't have any proper funding. Thank you.
Cabinet Secretary.
Honorable Speaker, I want to assure this House that the ministry has developed a very balanced structure on supporting the whole talent ecosystem. Under the Talanta Hela program, we target to develop talents, to monetize talents across all sports disciplines and across the whole creative sector. It is only in the last 1 year, for instance, Honorable Speaker, that we have put money in theater, we have put money in film, we have put money in schools for talent development. I can disclose to this Honorable House that for the first time in the history of this country, this fund provided 267 million Kenya shillings to support all talents in schools. We funded the Kenya Drama and Film Festival. We funded the Kenya Music Festival. We funded the Kenya Term 2 School Ball Games. All those amazing games you saw in Kakamega, the incredible numbers you saw at Buhungu Stadium, the live broadcast you saw KBC broadcasting the Kenya School Games for the first time in the history of this country. It was because of the funding of 267 million shillings from this fund to support that talent development. In that talent development, there is no discrimination. Indeed, the mantra of the ministry, the mantra of this government led by His Excellency William Samoei Ruto is leaving no one behind. We are leaving no one behind. And with regard to the arts, the creatives, we are very deliberate, we are very intentional, we are very structured in making sure that we invest heavily in the development of the creative economy. You have noticed, honorable senators, that the president has even restructured this ministry. The ministry is now called Youth Affairs, Creative Economy, and Sports. And it is to show deliberate focus on the creatives. And under creatives, we are targeting everything. We are targeting content creators, film, theater, fine art, performing arts, pageantry, fashion. Everything under that creative economy is receiving priority and receiving support. We are even putting money in innovation. Next week, we will be unveiling the Kenya Innovation Week, Commonwealth Edition. And we have invited all the 56 member states of the Commonwealth who will be in Nairobi as part of our effort to promote innovation. And we have also launched the Presidential Innovation Challenge and Award, through which our young people can showcase their innovation. The best innovation will each walk away with 5 million Kenya shillings startup fund. All this supported by this fund. So whether it is innovation or creativity or sports, this fund has an eye on all of them. With regard to what the Honorable Senator is referring to as our Paralympics team, we take very good care of our Paralympics team. We take time to support them. And the team that went to Germany was fully funded by the ministry. When they returned, we organized a special reception hosted by His Excellency the Deputy President, flanked by Engineer Peter Tum, the Principal Secretary in the State Department of Sports. And this is among the teams that received their cash awards on return. They received their cash awards immediately. I'm assuring this House that we have our finger on the pulse of sports and the creatives in this country, and we are doing everything humanly possible to take better care of our sportsmen and women and our creatives, and I have no doubt that we are doing a sterling job at it. I submit, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Senators, we are going to allow questions from the floor. But because of time, I think we only have about 15 minutes. For the convenience of this House, I will use order number 34 to extend so that we can go up to 1:15 to ask the questions. I would urge the senators that I call to be very brief with their questions because there are many senators who want to ask questions. Senator Mohamed Chute.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I'll be very brief. Let me first of all take this opportunity to thank the Minister for his quick action. He flew to Marsabit to look at the stadium in Marsabit, and I think that matter is being sorted out. Yes. I would want, on behalf of Marsabit people, tell you thank you very much. Going back to my question, Mr. Speaker, in Marsabit we have 20 wards in Marsabit County, and each ward will be having tournaments in those wards. We have about 20 teams, about 6 teams in each ward. So, Speaker, What I wanted, the minister knows very well, Marsabit is prone to banditry attacks and cattle rustling. Drug menace also is there, Mira and so many things. And I would want to know what the minister can do to finance those tournaments. And if he's saying yes, who shall we talk to so that we can expedite so that the tournaments can be started as quickly as possible? Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Senator. We'll take another question that the CS can answer 2 questions at a time. Senator Edwin Sifuna.
Thank you, Speaker. It's nice to see my good friend, Honorable Ababu Namwamba, who, as you know, is my predecessor as the SG of ODM. And although he has once publicly denied knowing me, Kipetero, I still consider him a friend and political mentor. Bwana CS, in the run-up to the elections in 2017, the then Deputy President made a certain pronouncement on the status of the construction of 9 stadia. I know you have the list that includes Kamarin, the one in Wote, Moyale, Mombasa, Kisumu. Now recently, the country was awarded rights to host, together with our regional neighbors, the 2027 AFCON, which I must say I was pleasantly surprised, because I don't expect much from the current regime. But I was pleasantly surprised that we won that hosting rights. I want to know, now that we got the hosting rights and you announced construction of other stadia for that particular tournament, is it the position of this government that the 9 stadia that were listed, including Kamarin, Wote, Moyale, and the others, are no longer priority for this government and they are not going to be built to the international standards that were promised back then?
Thank you, Senator. Cabinet Secretary, if you can tackle the 2 questions.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Thank you, Honorable Senator Chute. I can assure you that we were very happy to come to Marsabit. We had a good time. Thank you for being such a fantastic host to us, together the governor and the leaders of Marsabit. And I'm assuring you that we have made all arrangements necessary to complete Marsabit Stadium. We are really looking forward to complete the works and coming to open Marsabit Stadium. As regards the competitions in the wards, yes, I do agree that Marsabit is among those counties. First of all, Marsabit is an amazing county, beautiful county. It's the cradle of humankind, but it has really not been integrated fully in the talent development program of this country. And I'm pleased to inform you that the Talanta Hela Inter-County program that targets under 19 sports men and women, both boys and girls, will be the answer to this program. And we'll be very happy to sit down with yourself, Senator, through the Principal Secretary, Engineer Peter Tum, who is right here with me, to work out programs how Marsabit can take full advantage of this program. My very good friend and brother and successor as ODM Secretary General is Senator Edwin Sifuna. Of course, I do know you, Senator, through the chair. And Senator, congratulations for the good work you're doing as Secretary General of ODM. I want to assure you, Senator, that this current regime will surprise you big time, pleasantly, by performing beyond your wildest expectation. We have our finger right on the desires of the people of Kenya, and we have a president who is not afraid to lead right from the front, both at home and away, as you saw in the European Parliament just 2 days ago. Quickly to the 2 questions, Honorable Speaker. The stadia that His Excellency President William Ruto made a pronouncement on, stadia that started but then stalled. They include this Marsabit Stadium that we were in Marsabit to inspect. They include Wote in Makueni. They include Kamarin. I want to report to this House that we have visited all the 9 stadia. We have made an assessment of what needs to be done, and I'm assuring this House that completion of this 9 stadia is a top priority for the ministry and for this administration. And so our AFCON commitments notwithstanding, we have placed a priority on completion of this stadia. And just to assure this House also that we have every intention to spread the benefits of international competitions across the country. This Saturday, the 25th, we will be flagging off the CECAFA Under-18 football tournament bringing together 8 countries across the Sakafa region. And this tournament is being hosted in Kisumu and Kakamega. We have also won the rights to host CHAN, the CHAN Championship, which will be hosted in Nairobi and Kakamega. Right now, the Talanta Hela Inter-County playoffs are happening in Nyeri. And so we are assuring you of spreading the tournaments around and making sure that all Kenyans have a chance to partake of this incredible high trajectory of sports under the leadership of His Excellency William Samoei Ruto.
Thank you, CS. The next 2 questions will be asked by Paul Thangwa on this side and Senator Ole Kina on this side. Very quickly, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I would want the CS to elaborate because he has talked about the Talanta tournament. But my question was, we have World Cup where all over the world teams meet to get to know which one is the best. We have African Cup of Nations. All Africa countries get together to find out which one is the best. What about Kenya Cup? Is this the same thing you're talking about as Talanta, where 47 counties should compete to find out which is the best county? Question number 2, you have talked about the stadiums.
Senator
Kiambu,
Thangwa, please, let's...
Yeah, 2. You said 2 questions.
No, 1 question for you and 1 question for...
Oh, this is very quick.
Very
SEK indulgence. Very quick, Mr. Speaker. Kiambu Kirigiti Stadium. It is all complete. We see it, but it is not open to the public. It is only open for the governor. When he has an event, the governor will do things there. When there's a public event, the governor will do. But the public are not using the stadium. When are you going to hand over and open Kirigiti Stadium?
Thank you. Senator Ole Kina, very quickly, please, and briefly.
Mr. Speaker, my questions will be very brief and to the point. Cabinet Secretary, it is not enough to say that you are making plans. Article 153(4) requires you to submit regular reports on matters, so I would like to request that you do so. But I have 2 specific questions, and I've jotted them down so that I ask them specifically. One is following up on the question that was asked on behalf of Senator Onyonka on the issue of budgets. And I'd like to know from you, and if you're not able to substantiate now, you can submit to this House, what specific measures are being taken to ensure transparency and accountability in the allocation and utilization of the sports budgets in Kenya? Question number 2, which is also following up on your replies, which I said it's not enough. What specific strategies and initiatives are being implemented to ensure equitable talent development across all 47 counties in Kenya? And how is the Ministry of Sport working to identify and support talented individuals in underrepresented regions? And I ask that knowing that your budget is 6.4 billion.
Thank you, Senator. Cabinet Secretary, very briefly, please, the 2 questions.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. On the question of Honorable Senator Thangwa, your Kenya Cup is actually the Talanta Hela Inter-County Cup, which is ongoing. The top 16 counties, we have done this countrywide. We started at the regional level. From the regional level, we have gone to the playoffs. They are concluding in Nyeri this afternoon, actually. After this session, I'm headed straight to Nyeri to close the playoffs. From the playoffs, 4 more teams or 4 more counties will join the 12 regional winners. We split the country into 12 regions. So we already have 12 winners of the 12 regions. They'll be joined by the 4 winners of the playoffs for both boys and girls. And we are going to have our own County World Cup, starting on the 3rd of December to the 12th. The finals will be the showstopper at Jamhuri Day, graced by His Excellency the President himself. So that is really something we are developing in that regard. Kirigiti Stadium in Kiambu is one of our top facilities, constructed and completed. There are certain things that need to be sorted around Kirigiti, and I can inform you really that as we close a number of stadia for preparation for AFCON, Kirigiti has been lined up to be among the stadia that is going to be very, very active while the rest are closed for AFCON. And once the pending issues are sorted out, including the issue of the track, when they constructed Kirigiti, they used tarmac, they used bitumen on the track, which really was not the right thing to do. And it needs to be removed so that you can have the right material on the track. Once all that is done, Kirigiti will be made available for use by the public. That I can assure you. Honorable Senator Olekina, I want to make a commitment of providing regular reports. Indeed, we will start by our scorecard for the last 1 year. When we submit the extra information we have committed to submit, we'll also include a record of our scorecard for the last 1 year to inform the House of what we have been able to do in the last 1 year. In terms of measures taken on transparency, we have been very deliberate. We have become very thorough. I did inform this House, for instance, that in 2022, the Safari Rally project cost the Exchequer 2.5 billion. We refused to spend a similar, and we were able to deliver a rally with a budget less 1 billion, which really tells you about our commitment to reduce budgets, to cut budgets. We have also made it very clear to federations that now they have to follow a procedure where you apply for resources according to the regulations of the sports fund, bring your application 6 months in advance. We are putting together a team to do proper screening of budgets. Among the requirements we have placed on the federations is that if you have any extra funding, if you have any sponsorship, you have to disclose it. And I'm assuring this House that on the question of transparency, on accountability, there is absolutely no compromise. And finally, on equity, the equity really is our Talanta Hela initiative. And it is an initiative which is both physical and virtual. Honorable Speaker, through you, Senator Olekina can go to his Google App Store right now and search Talanta Hela app. Download that app. Any child or any youth in Narok County who believes they can do football, rugby, anything.
It's okay. There's no engagement. Yes,
I'm informing that it's a platform that we have provided that even if you are in the remotest part of this country, you can interact with this program and you can pick your talent.
Thank you.
But we are also sending scouts physically to those places where we may have challenges with access to this app. We will send scouts physically, and we are recruiting some of our top legends from the past to play this role of scouts. I submit.
Thank you, Cabinet Secretary. The last two questions will be asked by Senator Tabitha on this side and Senator Mazayo on this side. Very, very quickly, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And let me start appreciating the Honorable Waziri for the great job that you're doing. But just to narrow it, Bwana Waziri, as far as Talanta Hela is concerned, in the 47 counties, do you have a data of how many talents you've been able to create in each and every county, in each and every constituency? And lastly, Mr. Speaker, I'm a member of the Finance Committee. I've been able to look at the feedback that you've given on what Honorable Senator Onyonka had asked in regards to the budget of the WSR. And looking at the budget, you've talked about a cut with 1 billion. Then which makes me ask you, what was the benefit, either directly or indirectly, for the people of Kenya after this rally took place? And as you say that you did cut a budget, your report indicates very clearly that you have pending bills, which is a very big animal in this country. Then how do you justify reducing the budget is 1 billion, and mark you still have pending bills for Kenyans in this country? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Stewart Mazayo, very quickly, please.
Asante, Bwana Spika. Bwana Spika, swali langu ni moja mawili hivi kwa waziri wa michezo. Waziri, ni mipangilio gani ambao umeifanya kufikia hivi sasa kuona ya kwamba uhusiano wa FKF, wale walio ndani ya ofisi hivi sasa, na wale former footballers na fans wa mpira, kwa sababu huu ni mambo ya kandanda. Watu wengi sana wanapendelea katika Kenya, wana wafuasi wakubwa. Ni mpangilio gani umefanya kuona kwamba uhusiano umerudi? Manake hivi tunavyoelewa ni kwamba uhusiano kufikia hivi sasa bado umezorota sana, hali tukijua kwamba mwezi wa pili utaweza kusimamia kuona kwamba kutakuwa na uchaguzi wa uongozi ndani ya Kenya kuhusikana na kandanda. Swali la pili ni kwamba
Sorry, Senator, swali moja tafadhali, wakati imekwisha.
Kwa kumalizia tu.
Wakati imekwisha. Wacha ajibu hiyo tu ndo, because hata kuwa na nafasi ya kujibu.
Shukran.
Cabinet Secretary, you may answer the questions. You only have 5 minutes.
Thank you very much,
within those 5 minutes.
Honorable Speaker, on data of talents, I can inform Honorable Senator Tabitha that indeed we have built, and this is a first in Kenya, we have built a database. I can even make even happier that from the activities going on in schools, we have pipelined or connected all those activities to the Kenya Academy of Sports. After the school ball games in Kakamega, for instance, we invited 2,000 of the best talent from those school games to Kenya's first ever national holiday talent camp. It is from that talent camp that you have seen youngsters now going to play for Kenya in the under-18 Sekafa Championship. A lot of the boys and girls who have been selected for those junior national teams came from that talent camp. Some have even gone to international academies. We have 3 boys right now, Aldrin Kibet, Alvin Kasavuli, Amos Wanjala, at the Nastic Soccer Academy in Spain, Louis Ngavi at the Montverde Academy in Orlando, in Florida, in the US. And so we have a good system of not only identifying them, but also progressing them and exposing them to further growth. And right now through the Talanta Hela app, and I would invite the honorable senators to visit the Talanta Hela screening room at Kasarani at the Kenya Academy of Sports. We have data on everybody and everything that we are coming into contact with. And today, if a scout in the UK or in Brazil